Hi, Gerhard Bloom, once again, looking at the tyranny and the delusions of the social justice movement. So, yes, in continuing the war on decency and law, Daniel Penny, that hero from that subway incident, has been indicted for second-degree murder following the death of Jordan Neely. In the wake of this incident, the news media claimed that Jordan Neely was lynched. Lynched? How awful. Well, more leftist lies. Mr. Neely was a violent criminal thug, and yes, undoubtedly mentally disturbed. We'll get to that part later. A tragedy. Look, I would have to pluck out some nose hairs to be able to squeeze out a tear or two for Mr. Neely. No, hardly a tragedy. He was out of control and threatening passengers on the subway. People were terrified. As people, after the incident, thanked him for kind of rescuing them from the tyranny of fear that Neely was constructing. And nobody was trying to kill Mr. Neely. If you look at the footage, the video, no, every attempt was taken to restrain this guy. And when Neely stopped resisting, the pressure was relaxed. And when it became apparent that Neely was in a medical emergency, they tried as best they can to manage that particular issue. So they showed some concern for the well-being of Mr. Neely. And yes, he died. He died while being restrained. And by the way, there was a black man assisting Daniel Penny in restraining Jordan Neely. So no, race had nothing to do with this, except, of course, the fact that Daniel Penny happened to be white. And yes, being white, that was really a bad choice for Mr. Penny, right? Had he been black, the police, there's no way they would have charged him. And had Mr. Neely been white, there's no way the police would have charged him. But as it was, you get a white man trying to restore some order on that chaos that the subways become, and he's vilified as a monster. And the media, oh, Mr. Neely, he was a Michael Jackson impersonator. No, those days were long since past. He'd been arrested more than 40 times, including for assault. One of these assaults, he violently attacked a 67-year-old woman. She suffered a fractured orbital socket and a broken nose, and if I understand correctly, ended up in hospital. Imagine that, a little old lady punching her in the face. Why wasn't this dangerous, mentally unstable person in a mental facility? Remember, I mentioned we'd get to that later. That's because our bleeding heart leftists have made it nearly impossible to involuntarily commit dangerous people. So they roam the streets, and until they actually kill somebody, nobody can do anything about it. And leftist policies have turned the New York subway into a violence-ridden trip to an inner circle of hell. Since 2020, 27 people have been killed on that subway. Please check out my book, Deconstructing Social Justice. It's available on Amazon. I promise you, it's important. Not because I wrote it. I wrote it because the issues could not be more important. Thank you so much for your time and attention. Bye-bye.